Hello everybody and welcome to Every Book All at Once Week 3. So for those of you new here, if you go into the reading vlog playlist, you can go back to the first episode. I'll also link it down below. But so in this vlog series, as the title implies, I will be reading every book all at once. Of course not every book ever published, but every book that I consider to be part of my physical TBR project all at once. Currently, we have one exception. Currently, the only exception is The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons, and that is because that is the book club book for a read-along that I'm hosting in September. Well, it's a year-long read-along, but this is the September book for it, so I will only be starting it in September. But since I started this project, so this is week 3, this is the final week of August, so I wasn't going to be starting this book already when I was like, okay, I just need to wait a few weeks. So I am currently reading 16, well, at the start of the week I was reading 16 books at the same time, I believe, or 17. The screen will tell the truth, I guess. And I have started an extra book this morning. So yesterday I finished the Saturday morning park run, and so I was in need of a new audiobook for the commute, and so I went into the Wednesday morning Wild Swim, which is the second book in that series by the same author. And yeah, so my plan for this week is basically we're gonna have to figure it out, because starting this week I'm gonna let like a wheel decide what I have to do. And another thing that I'm adding a whole ton of things this week. So what I'm adding first of all is a benchmark. Every book by the end of this week needs to have reached 6%. That means that there are 6 books, I think, at this point in time, which I have to make more progress in because they did not get to that 6% mark yet. So that's already a first thing. Secondly, I'm going to be rolling a wheel to see what my main goal reading wise will be for this week. Then I'll also roll a wheel to see like an extra activity that I need to do this week. And considering I didn't complete the goal last week, I also asked people over on my Discord to vote for a punishment for this week. So I'll try to remember to always put a punishment poll up on my Discord so that I know what my punishment would be, regardless of whether I actually make my goal or not. That way, you know, you guys won't be spoiled for it before my new video goes up, but I can also know my punishment from the beginning of the week and don't have to wait until like Tuesday evening to post a poll once people have had the opportunity to see the video. Even considering the fact that not everybody, of course, watches them immediately, it would mean that I have to wait too long or spoil people for the results of the weekly goals. So I've decided to do it like this. This week I definitely do have the punishments to do, and the results of the poll will be determined later on tonight. But I think that it seems most likely that the current leader, which is going to win, and the current leader is that I have to make progress in 10 books. So as I indicated, I'm reading like 17 books at the same time. So it does give me some leeway. There are some books that I can lay by the wayside, but it's not that much neither. But the lucky thing is that with this benchmark, as I indicated, there were already 6 books that I had to make progress in regardless to get to the benchmark. So 6 out of that. So that just means, okay, so there are already 6 that I would have had to make progress in regardless. So we just have to add 4 more. But let's just take my cell phone with me so that I can do the spin to figure out what my main goals are going to be for this week. Alright, so I'm screen recording now. I just want to point out what I would like to do this week, what my priorities would ideally be for this week before we see whether this spin is going to mess things up. So it is the final week of August. I would love to be able to finish something still this week. First of all, I would love to finish The Waking Fire by Anthony Ryan, because that is the August book for my read-along. And secondly, I would really like to finish Gold by Raven Kennedy. It's the book that I'm the first along in, and so as a consequence, it's the one that I'm most likely to be able to finish this week, though it is also not like super short, so there are other things that I could more realistically finish probably, but I would like to finish this one as well. I would like to be able to kind of prioritize it again. I've been going a little bit slower in it with last week's goal. But so I have made 2 wheels, the Every Book All at Once reading and Every Book All at Once activity one. So let's go for the Every Book All at Once reading one. Some of these are suggestions from people who are on my Discord. Alright, we have Chinese food. So this is already becoming quite chaotic of a clip. And my my, what do we call that? Screen recording is going to be annoying to edit now because I didn't let this camera roll, and so now I've got my screen recording going for a while now. But okay, so as I was saying, there is the activities on both the reading and the activities wheel are suggested by subscribers, but also things that I've added. So some of them are suggested, some I've added. Definitely feel free to keep on commenting suggestions for activities or reading prompts that I can add, and then I'll add them into this wheel, for example, or I will place something similar in here. But so let's get a move on. Let's see what goal I'm gonna get for this week. Ideally, I get something like finish 2 books, and then I can just focus on what I just said. But if I have to like make, some of these can be somewhat evil to myself, and so that can really put a spanner in the works. Alright, this is one of those. So in the 3 books that are in the 3 shortest books on my TBR, I need to make 20% progress. Now this is somewhat unfortunate at this point in time, because so my 3 shortest are Deathless Demon and Ruins of Smoke. Ruins of Smoke and Deathless are both books that are going on my Magical Readathon TBR, but I don't think that if you use one of the scrolls to kind of allow yourself to start a book before the start of the month, then I don't think it matters how far along in that book you are before the start of the month, because Ruins of Smoke I'm already halfway through, so if I'm gonna make 20% progress in that, that means that I'm gonna get to the 70% mark already. But I don't think it matters for Magical Readathon how far along you already are in a book, so I don't think it will upset my Magical Readathon TBR. But so yeah, that means 3 of my 3 books that I need to make significant progress in. The good thing being that these are all 3 books under 200 pages long, so it should be relatively easy to get to 20% in them. That should just be like somewhat, 50 pages, not even. So that's like, it could have been worse. There are worse goals in this wheel. Then, yes, publicity, whatever, come on. Then let's move over to the activity. Some of these are activities that I've kind of like put on my yearly prompts, or sort of like yearly wishes for myself, you know, like the goals you make at the beginning of the year. Some of these are like activities that I was like, okay, I'm always procrastinating on them. I want to do them for once. I'll put them on the radar for this year. And we are close, like we've 2/3 into the year, and a lot of these we haven't done yet. So I put them in there, and some, of course, as again, were suggested by people over on Discord. So let's see what pops up here. Okay, I am happy with this one, and it actually is good timing as well, because this is a no HelloFresh week for me. So I do have to make my own food, hence why I'm ordering Chinese, clearly. So it is the perfect timing to have time to do this. But so yeah, over the weekends, I mean, because realistically speaking, I'm going to do this over the weekends, I have to make sushi, which is exciting, and I'll make sure that by the time of the week that the weekends comes around, that I have all of my ingredients in order, that I get like fresh fish for it and stuff like that. So yeah, excited. This is why I put this sort of like prompts in there as well, because first of all it makes for an interesting activity to add into a vlog, but also this is like a way to motivate myself to prioritize some of these activities which otherwise I always want to be doing, but I just never like fit into my weeks. And so now being able to combine that with this project, I'm finally gonna make sushi. So yay! I have to look up some of those. So what would I want to make? Like a California roll probably. Because I love the rolls that have like tempura, shrimp in them, but that is really outside of my reach, so it'll have to be something much more simpler than that. But yeah, those are the activities, meaning that I'll probably definitely prioritize reading in The Waking Fire by Anthony Ryan, but that one can be more or less easily combined, I think, with the reading goal of making progress in the 3 shortest ones. The 3 shortest ones, one of those I think is also one that I'm under 6% in. So if I make progress in the 2 other ones, that means the 6 ones under 6% plus those 2 is already 8 books. So I need to make progress in 2 other books in order for me to get to the 10 books in the week. It's a lot of thinking involved with these goals and the combinations of them, I think, but should be fine. Let's get a crack on. So, I don't give my weekly vlog names, but maybe I should call this one a series of unfortunate events. Nothing dramatic, but yesterday evening I was checking like the order of some pre-orders that I've got going on. And it turns out that one of the pre-orders that I was kind of like keeping an eye on or like waiting for news from, because I was like, come on, this book is out already. Where's my book? And I was just thinking that it was because I ordered a hardcover for it. It was just more difficult to get. But then when I checked the online status of it, it said that it was ready to be collected. So I just didn't receive an email for it, but it was there. So we are adding a book. We are adding a pretty big book. So this is There Are Rivers in the Sky, the new Elie Shafak, which will be going into this project and which I will be starting to read very, very shortly. Then I also yesterday got an email from Illumicrate. Well, I got an email from the Belgian Post saying that they were going to deliver a book and that they expected it to be here between yesterday and 2 days from now. Now that is definitely a lie, because today I got the email from Illumicrate itself that it shipped, so it's still leaving the UK. So potentially it won't even make its way to me this week, but so this is another book on its way, another book to be added to this project. Then I saw an update from the Broken Binding that they have new packaging for the Dandelion Dynasty, which I pre-purchased through them. And I had forgotten when this was scheduled to be sent. It was originally scheduled for August. This is not happening, but this probably means it is for September, which means those are 4 books that we'll be adding to this project in September. And then the least unfortunate event is the fact that I did not realize that I had HelloFresh ordered for a Wednesday. So Wednesday I get a new HelloFresh box, which is a little bit inconvenient for the challenge of making sushi, but it's not the worst thing. Like, it was perfect for me to not to have HelloFresh with this challenge, but it's also not like so inconvenient. I can just like make it on Saturday evening, for example, and then just eat the rest of it Sunday for lunch, for example. So I have HelloFresh for 6 days out of the weeks, more or less. So there's one day that I typically have to, like, I don't have enough HelloFresh for that evening. And so I can have sushi in any case on that 7th evening. And then if I just have leftovers, it'll just be for lunchtime. So it's fine. But yeah. Today or yesterday evening I was just like, okay, this is like a combination like of all sorts of things that are like slight inconveniences that make me think like, let's add to the chaos, because this idea in and of itself is not chaotic enough, right? Morning. I have just been eaten by mosquitoes all night. So I am tired and I am not in the mood for this day, but it is Thursday, so it's almost a weekend. But so I have finished a book yesterday, I feel like. So I finished Gold by Raven Kennedy. So we are reading one less book, but I also picked up a new book this week, as I think I already talked about. So I will be starting another book somewhere before the end of this week as well. So at this point in time, we are Thursday, as I said, so the first 3 days of this week, I've only made progress in 3 books. Now, this was intentional. I was just like focusing on those 3, and I knew that I was kind of letting this week's goal slip for the time being, which is, of course, a dangerous strategy, and we'll see whether that actually pans out or not. So, tonight I feel like while my main goal should still be the Waking Fire, because if I'm gonna try and finish it before the end of the week, then we're really not on a good track at all. But I'm also starting to feel like my enjoyment of this book isn't great so far. My focus of this book isn't great. And so focusing on just like getting through it is just like counterproductive, because it just means that I'm getting through the pages, but am I really like processing what I'm reading? Not necessarily. So I think tonight I will slow down my reading of The Waking Fire a little bit and just like read one chapter in it just or something like that, and then maybe just start something else, or like not start something else but just switch to something else. Maybe I should really focus tonight on some of the books that, you know, are my shortest books, that should be my main goal for this week. Because it is an achievable goal, I feel like I'm putting it to the side. But I also don't want to go into this weekend having only proceeded in 3 books and then still having to like work my way through 7 books, like not fully, of course, but just make some progress in 7 books just to get to that punishment goal. And I've done nothing for the benchmark of 6% goal. So yeah, am I just making life harder than it needs to be for myself? Absolutely, at this point in time. But so yeah, I'm gonna suck it up and get out of bed, go to work, and yeah, get this day started and turned around, because I've basically just been wallowing in I don't want to so far this day. And so now it's time to embrace the fact that we're gonna regardless. Alright, you know that this challenge is getting to you when you start dreaming about it. So I last night had a nightmare, I don't know, about buying 17 books all at once on a spur of the moment decision. So this did not happen, so we are still on more or less the same number. I did, as indicated, I think, right? I finished a book, but I've actually finished a second book now as well, because last night I returned from the office and from physical therapy, and I was like, okay, I just want to continue listening to the book that I'm listening to on my commute, and then I did. Because I felt like we were gonna get to that, oh, like everything is messed up sort of moment within the relationship, and we got there, and then I didn't stop. I continued until the, oh, everything is back together section of the book. So I actually ended up finishing it. So I didn't enjoy the second one as much as I enjoyed the first one. So the Wednesday morning swim I thought was like just okay. I didn't have as much of a connection to the characters within it. I felt like my investment in this story was mainly in the romance, whereas with the first book the romance was kind of like it was the backseat of the story, and I felt like I was more interested in seeing what this character's relationships with the people around her, how she was going to rethink her priorities in life and stuff like that. I had less of a sense that the romance was like the end goal, at least for me personally. And then with this one I felt like my only real investment within the story was the romance. So I definitely had a sort of like different attitude with it, and so as a result I also felt differently about it towards the end. I didn't feel as emotionally attached, for example, and I also didn't feel like it was like it didn't grab my heartstrings the same way, and so in the end it was just like a meh experience, unfortunately. So it was definitely unfortunate because of the fact that I didn't enjoy the first one as much as I did, so the second one to that extent is a little bit of a disappointment because of expectations going into it. But I think as a sort of like romance, it's just like it's a cute romance and that is it. But so yeah, I finished that one as well, so in principle we are down another book in my currently reading, but I should definitely be starting 2 more books before the end of this week. So I should start the Alicia Fact one that I got earlier this week, and then I also have an Illumicrate that's going to be arriving today, so that one should also be started before the end of this week. And in principle, I think I gave you guys an update yesterday morning saying that I should like make some progress in other books, because I haven't so far this week, and we are still at that same point in time. It is Friday lunchtime. I am working from home, very exceptionally. I typically don't do that, but my cat's litter is being delivered today, so I have to be here to receive that. And so I'm working from home, and I will definitely need to be starting some other books after work today, because it is Friday and I still have only made progress in 3 books so far this week, 2 of which I've actually finished. So I finished Gold by Raven Kennedy, and I finished the Wednesday morning Wild Swim, and the only other book that I've made progress is The Waking Fire by Anthony Ryan, but I don't actually think that I'll be able to finish that before the end of August. So that is technically speaking my August read for my Dragon-based read-along, but I won't be able to finish it because if I'm gonna put in the speedy work to get that finished, I'm just not gonna enjoy it. I feel like I've been speeding through this one too much to appreciate the story, and so I feel like I don't really have an attachment to this story at all at this point in time, and so I need to slow down my reading with it to see if that is just a story or whether that was just the audiobook. And so since this is a series that I'll be reading for my read along, I definitely want to make sure that I'm getting the most out of it and that I'm not just like flying through it, because you know, at this point in time, I could easily DNF this series, but as it's part of my read-along project, I definitely want to make sure that before I were to make a decision like that, I have given the book the opportunity to convince me, because I currently feel like I haven't really done that. So that is where we're standing. I think tonight I'm going to be making progress in the Rob J. Hayes books, because I haven't been feeling like doing that. And so that would be 2 out of the 3 books that I need for the goal of this week of making 20% progress in the 3 shortest books. And then the other book is a really, really massive book that I'm only 2% into, and so that could help me get to the benchmark for this week, and would be 3 more books to add to the 10 books goal. So then I would have made progress in 6 out of the 10 books, like out of 6 out of the 10 that I need to make progress in. So it would also be a nice stepping stone into the weekend, I guess. But so yeah, this month has already been the best reading month I've had so far, because I'm already over 6,000 pages, and in terms of the amount of books, I'm at the same amount as was like previously my highest read books amount within this year. I don't know whether it's all time, probably not, but in any case the page count, I'm pretty sure, is best all-time page count for a month, because it would surprise me if I ever got even more pages read than I did this month. Honest to God, guys. So not only did I go and collect my Illumicrate today, so we have an extra book to add to the TBR, but I also just checked my pre-order status, because I was like, oh yeah, 1 book is going to come out on the 29th of August, so that potentially is already in store waiting for me now. But then I checked it and it says that 3 books are waiting for me to collect them. Now one of them has to be a mistake, because it's a pre-order that I went to the store at one point and I was like, yeah, this was a mistake on my end, you should cancel it. And the guy did. He returned it on my behalf, but it says now that it's ready to be collected. I hope that that's just a mistake. But aside from Between Dragons and Wrath, which is the pre-order that I'm expecting to be there, The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart is also already there. It isn't out yet, guys. So this week really is a series of unfortunate events. But if unfortunate events just means more and more books, then I guess it's not as unfortunate as that title would suggest. But Jesus, I really need to stop buying books.
I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you drive me? Ain't no drive me. Ain't no way. I could deny you. I could stray. Won't you kiss me? Ain't no way. Want you. Want you. Come and try me now. So come and try me now. I was never left. I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you trust me? Ain't no way. I could deny you, I could stray. Will you kiss me? Ain't no way. I was never left.
Alright, guys, it is Sunday morning, and I have basically achieved the main goal for this week. So, the goal of like getting 20% further into my three shortest books, that I have been able to do. So, I have, like, technically speaking, I'm 1% behind when it comes to the book Demon, because I was 6% into that and now I'm 25% into that. But like, this is because of rounding off, and even one more page will get me this goal, but then I'll be like one page into a new chapter. So I was like, okay, let's just be kind to myself. I have made it to like a perfect time within the book, and I'll just like count it. So I've made it through 25% into Demon, 25% into Deathless, and now I'm also 75% into Ruins of Smoke, which I might actually still try to finish today, but that depends because I did do my activity goal, as you will have seen. I had sushi. I'm still having sushi because I have a ton of sushi now. So I had it yesterday for dinner. I had like the remainder of yesterday's dinner for breakfast now, and I'll have some more for lunch. And then I might actually still have some left over because I have so much of it. So I might still have some as like an appetizer for dinner, I guess. But so, those two goals are down. So what we have left is the goal of advancing in 10 books, which we are 7 books into. So just 3 more books and then I have that goal. And then the benchmark of 6%, which is an issue, of course, because I have books that came in this week. And then I have The Sky on Fire, which I was keeping for September. So technically speaking, those 5 books also need to be at that 6% mark by the end of today. So I have a pile in front of me now with 9 books on it. The pile is humongous, but of course I only need to read 6% in them, and not even in all of them, because like the top book on the pile, for example, I am 5% into, so I just need to read the one chapter and then I'm there. But yeah, it's daunting. I also still want to edit today and clean a little bit over here. So let's see where we get, I guess. So it is Monday evening. We have concluded another week. And what is our conclusion? So main goal was to get 20% ahead in 3 of the shortest books. We have achieved that, 1% off, but that was also just like 1 page. So I felt like, like it was cruel to continue on as read an entire chapter just to get that 1%. So I'm counting that. And then the non-reading activity was making sushi, which was a big success. I had like dinner, lunch, dinner full of sushi. So I had quite a lot of sushi, but I really enjoyed it. I think like there are improvements to be made in terms of the quality of the combinations I made, because I basically like didn't do too much research, and I was just like, you know what, I'll just buy a couple of ingredients and just like put them in there, and like, but for a future case I might look a little bit into like how to make like a tempura sushi or anything like that. So I had a great time with that, and so I consider those should be my main goals. And then if I've incurred a punishment, then the punishment should also be completed, and if those 3 are completed, I don't need a new punishment. So the punishment was to continue on in 10 books, and I am pretty sure I made progress in more than that. I definitely reached the 10, so I was already at like 6 or 7 even on Saturday, and then on Sunday I made progress in like 6 books or something like that. So I definitely reached it. And then yeah, that means that I don't have to incur punishment for week 4, which some of you might be disappointed with because of what won the punishment vote, but you'll just have to nominate this punishment again for future weeks to come, because I don't need to do the punishment this week. The only thing that I didn't end up succeeding with is the benchmark. So I set myself a benchmark of reaching 6% in all of my books by the end of the week. Of course, when I set myself that benchmark, I didn't yet realize that there were going to be 4 books coming my way in the week after, and then all of a sudden there would be 5 books, so the one that I hadn't started before September, and those 4 to all of a sudden get 6% into. If I had realized that from the get-go, then I would have not spent so much of my time in the beginning of the week focusing on other stuff. Because basically the goal for this week was so achievable that for the first few days I was just like trying to proceed with other books, trying to get other books finished before the end of the month, and it's only really in the weekend that I really started to zoom in on that overall goal for the week. And so we are not making that mistake again next week. So what I've decided to do is that with the benchmark, I'll kind of set a rule that every week the benchmark moves up by 2%. So next week the benchmark will be 8%. But if in the week, so if in week 4, right? We're in week 4 next week. If in week 4 I reach the 8% mark in all of my current reads, then it means that the week after the benchmark pauses for 1 week. So it'll always move up by 2% unless I manage to achieve the benchmark, and then it is on pause for 1 week, and then the week after that it will move up 2% again. However, if I don't reach the benchmark, as is the case for this week, because I didn't reach the 6% benchmark, that means that next week the benchmark will move up to 8%, and it will continue doing so until I complete it for once and get like a week off, a week in which I don't have to focus on that benchmark aside of the main goal. So I think that that is fair. I think that that is still quite challenging. This isn't supposed to be a punishment, so I need to take things kind to myself, and I think I'm still maybe making it difficult enough for myself as is. But so yeah, that is the weekly progress. We are starting week 4 with more books than we started week 3 with. Not ideal considering the fact that I did finish. Not ideal considering the fact that I did finish 2 books this week, though one of them was a book I only started this week. So basically only one of the books that was on my current reads prior to the start of week 3 was finished, and then we could debate that I added 5 to it. Actually, I did add 5 because there was that one that I had like excluded for the month of August. So yeah, I am not reading in all of them yet at this point in time, because I knew at the end of Sunday, like, I'm not making that benchmark. So there's a few that I haven't started in yet, but by like the end of next week at the very least, unless I finish a few, I should have like 20 books on the currently reading. So wish me luck, guys. So that is it for this week. I'm rounding up the vlog here, and I'm gonna be rolling again to figure out what my goals are for next week. But so let me know what you thought of this episode. If you have any suggestions for future challenges, punishments, all of those types of things, put them down into the comments at the bottom of this video, and I hope to see you guys for the next installment. Bye!